We're back. My name's Chris
What up?
Terrific.
Marky D2 here on Straight from the Fridge. It's been a while.
And this is a special edition of Straight from the Fridge. This is the coronavirus coffee talk. Uh, basically, we're just going to, I don't know, shoot the shit about whatever comes to mind.
I prefer Quarantine Corner, but that's just me.
Well, we talked about this. Come on. There's like two videos up with like two different titles. But
Yeah, well, this is day 8,000 of the quarantine, or at least it feels like it anyway.
holy shit. So my work, and I work as I think the official title is a medical lab technician. And my last day of work was March 17th. So good old St. Patty's Day. And man, like like I know it's only been like a month and a half or whatever, but it feels like I've been off work for like a year. Like it just, I don't know. It feels like a long time.
Too bad you're Scottish and you don't have the luck of the Irish on St. Patrick.
Well, I also don't have the drinking habit of the Irish as well, so you know.
Yeah, for me, we kind of have opposite kind of experiences because I've been working pretty much like normal, like it's a normal
Yeah,
shift for full time pretty much. So that's been okay. It is kind of like stressful a little bit going to work and trying not to touch too much stuff and trying not to get close to people. It's kind of made there's been a huge amount of change at work, but we're trying to get through and trying to make it as fun as possible, I guess, or as doable as possible.
yeah, as pleasant. But it's funny because like me and Carrie will go on walks every day, kind of like just get outside, and I find that people are a lot more like nice now, like that everybody will move apart. It's like, oh, be safe, have a good day, whereas before they wouldn't even look twice at you, you
Yeah.
know.
And
But
lucky up here in Canada where we are, it's not quite as bad as especially the U.S. and Italy and some of those other places. Like we got it down pretty good here so far. So lucky for us, we live in this area, especially with Canada. The population isn't really that high for how big the country is.
yeah, we have a
So I
spread
think
out mass.
yeah, I think that's helped a lot. So we're actually kind of lucky up here in a lot of ways.
But from what I heard that because there was a whole thing about Trump in the States saying that he feared that the coronavirus was coming from Canada, and like apparently people are like avoiding like the border, like from New York to Niagara Falls or whatever. But
Good.
yeah, I think the borders are closed, but yeah, they're fearing it's coming over. But yeah,
I remember hearing about that a little while ago. I was thinking, like, if anything, we should be scared of them, right? They
yeah.
like it's way worse down there. We don't want them coming up here or anything. Like, it should be opposite.
Well, I think in general, I think having the borders closed and just having places kind of close down everything but like the essential things is a smart thing, and it sucks because I mean it's boring as hell. But I think if everybody plays their part, we could potentially have things back kind of to normal by like summertime.
Yeah, hopefully. I miss going to like the guitar stores and stuff like that. Like just even
Yeah,
just walking around and maybe picking one up and playing it or something. But I miss little things like that, just or the record shops or whatnot.
yeah, I miss like the thrift stores. Like we had a thing where we would go every Friday. We would go out and like hit up a bunch of secondhand shops. Then we would go to dinner, and yeah, it's the small things. Or like one of the things I was thinking about is I miss getting like a coffee in a coffee shop. Like just going in, ordering it, because I was friendly with the people in my coffee shop. And you just say, "Hey, how's it going? How's life?" And then 5 minutes later you leave. And but that being said, I feel like my brewing technique has improved vastly since since we've been home.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how this is going to change interactions in the future. Like, are people going to be more guarded even after all this is over and the virus is gone or everyone's immune or whatever? Are people going to be more guarded, or are you going to see people like not eat in as much at a place or stuff like
Well,
that? I'm kind of curious how it's going to change everything.
one of the theories I heard was that it could go that people just want to forget about it so much that like they just basically like block it out, like they just go back en masse to doing what they used to do, just so it's not a reminder of
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff.
Isn't it
But
weird? Like, I don't know. I feel like we've been in it for so long, we're kind of getting used to how life is. Like, I was watching Hell's Kitchen with my wife last night, and I noticed there were like people just eating in the booths and having a good time, and big groups of people in the restaurant. I'm like, that's so weird to me now.
it's like a relic from the past.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's kind of like, man, I wish we had that again. Like, we just go to a
Well,
restaurant and eat.
one of the phrases I keep hearing now is the new normal. So like Carrie went out to get some groceries last night, and she came home with the bags, and we like immediately grabbed like the Lysol wipes, and we're like wiping off all of the groceries and stuff. And yeah, it's like the new normal. This is what we do now, you
We've
know.
all hit like the Howie Mandel level of fucking germaphobe now.
It's funny because I didn't know that Seinfeld is like a germaphobe, but I saw a
Yeah.
video and like Kesha was like trying to hug him, and he's like, "No thanks, no thanks," you know. Yeah, I picked up a few things, but I was lucky or unlucky enough to have a birthday towards the end of March, which basically I spent sitting inside. But
Yeah, that sucked. I wasn't able to come down. Usually I come down and we hang out for a bit and
yeah,
exchange, or I'll give you the your gift or whatever, and it's usually a rad time, but this year was nope.
it was different. But again, like I had the cake and stuff with my family in the house, but it was just different because yeah, like you didn't come down, and like usually I like to go out and eat on my birthday, but anyway, I got a couple gifts. I'll start with this one here that Mark might notice because it's from him. The Doom Slayers collection, which is Doom 1, 2, 3, and Doom 2016.
It's a pretty good
And
collection.
what's that?
It's a pretty good collection, pretty rad
Oh, I
collection.
saw it. It's funny because you forget how good that first Doom game was. Because I remember playing it back in the day,
Yeah.
and I loaded it onto my onto my PS4, and as soon as it came on, it was like that, like nostalgic, like oh shit, it's going down, you
Yeah.
know. But actually, at night I've been playing this, you know.
Nice.
So I am stuck on one of the levels now because like, when was the last time that you played Doom, like the original Doom?
Oh, geez. Probably the late 90s or early 2000s, probably. Because I had the Super Nintendo copy, which wasn't very good, but I would
Right.
dabble into that. And I think I might have played it actually like on a PC here and there. But
Well, I think you had it on like a PC. I think your dad gave you like a computer that had it on there.
yeah, I was trying to remember if it was on there or not. I think it was.
It was on there because that's where I played it.
Oh, and I remember like Duke Nukem was on there, and I remember
Yeah,
Wolfenstein 3D was on there, but I couldn't remember if Doom was on
the OG Duke.
there.
But Doom was on there as far as I recall. But I forgot how hard. Like the first couple of levels are pretty straightforward, but once you get past like level like 5 or 6, the mazes become like super intricate. Like it's hard. It's hard to find your way, through.
It's funny when
And
you see people speed run that game. You ever see that where people get through
yeah,
like
yeah.
levels in like 10 seconds and it's just like absolute craziness and like glitching through walls and like, just stuff that you couldn't even fathom back in the day of like how to beat that game.
But it's funny because like it is a more like simplistic game, but it's still fun. Like for a game that's like however many years old, it's still like a fun game.
Yeah, for sure.
Almost 30 years old, I guess. But
That came
yeah,
with a controller skin too, right?
it did. Yeah,
What does
it had
that
a
look
big
like? I never
poster.
actually saw it.
So I don't know if you can see it on this camera. It's actually it's a pretty nice collection. So you get the games 1, 2, and 3 are like a download code. Uh, the the one is a disc, the newest one. The skin is like a Bailoff. I don't know if you can
Oh
uh,
yeah, nice.
see it.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
so I haven't put it on yet. And then like the poster's like pimp. Like I want to like frame it up, but
The new Doom is actually pretty good too. I never beat it, but I think I played the demo. I downloaded the
yeah,
demo. It was pretty cool.
uh, Eternal.
No, not that one. The one that you got there, the
Oh
2016
yeah,
Doom.
yeah. I did put it on my my PS4, and I just kind of loaded to see what it was like because I couldn't remember if I played it. And yeah, it's basically like just better graphics. You know, it's still like you're in hell and whatnot.
I thought it was interesting that they kind of kept that same gameplay style. Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, so yeah, it's still kind of like like the maze shoot 'em up. Only the graphics are a little bit more,
Yeah.
sophisticated. But no, that's what I've been playing. Also, I don't know if you've seen this, but did you see that that PlayStation, without having PS Plus, is giving away 2 free games?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Getaway
so
Journey and something. I can't remember the other.
it's the Uncharted collection.
Oh yeah, I already have that though. That's probably why I forgot. But
Yeah, I think I have it as well, but I didn't have Journey. But I'm like that's pretty cool. Like if you're stuck home, I mean
yeah,
you go back and play Uncharted because all those games are killer.
I never actually played Journey, but I heard good things. Everyone says it's pretty good game, so I should give it a shot here.
I started it, but it's kind of like what's that game? The Shadow of Colossus.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
ever play that? Where you just
Oh
like
yeah.
wander for a while, you know?
I remember the original Shadow Colossus. I had a demo disc from like PlayStation Magazine or something, and I played that demo. I didn't know what the hell was going on because I was just like wandering around for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever it was, and then eventually, like in the distance, I saw the big monster. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I like ran up to it, and it was a pretty cool experience. It's funny that I never actually ended up buying the game, but that demo actually kind of blew my mind back then.
I bought the game.
Did you back in the day?
Yeah, I was on a big RPG kick there for a while, and so I bought the game because it got good ratings, but I didn't really know what it was about. And I remember playing it, and it's just like you're walking for like 2 hours. It's like what's happening,
And they
you
don't
know?
tell you anything. There's like no like controls. There's no like from what I remember anyway. There's like no direction on like where to go or what you were doing in the game. It's
No,
just
you just wander until the Colossus comes.
yeah. And back then, we didn't get games too often and we didn't have very much, so we'd play the crap out of those demo discs, even games that we didn't like or
Oh,
or care to play, right? So
but it's also funny because I feel like I tried more games. Like I was saying this the other day to somebody that those demo discs like they introduced me to games I would have like never played, like the Emperor's New Groove, like the
yeah,
Disney movie. That game is killer, and I played it because of the friggin' demo, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. There's a
But
ton of games like that. Even like me and you wore out the Tony Hawk 2 demo,
oh,
which was just
challenge
one level of first
countryside
time.
people.
Yeah, it was hilarious though, like because we would just didn't we like used to pause it when there was like 1 second left and then restart the level because or else you'd have to reload like the whole demo or something. So we'd constantly just like restart the demo over and over again with 1 second left and kind of pass off the controller and just put
I
like
can't remember.
we put like countless amount of hours into that, like just a ridiculous amount into that one level and that one demo.
It's Mersai, and
Yeah,
like I'm still pretty confident that I could beat like the majority of people on that level,
yeah.
just because I know where like every nook and cranny is in that bloody level.
It's funny because we played the shit out of Tony Hawk 1 for a long time, and then I think you got the demo at the same time actually, but the innovation in 2 with the different like the revert I think you could do and just like the smoothness of everything in the second one, like they improved so much that we just kept playing that demo even though you had number 1, and we would play that too, but the demo always seemed to like grab us more.
Well, I got the demo for 2 the same day I bought my PlayStation. I was a little bit late to the PlayStation game, and then I'm like this game is amazing because the only skateboard games we had up to that point was like Skate or Die and
Yeah.
like California Games. So I remember being like mind blown that when he would do like a kickflip, you see his foot kind of like turn and flick it, and
Yeah.
I was like oh my god! And then I remember like calling my dad. Like, why would he care? I don't know. But I'm like watch his feet. Watch his feet. And he's like, oh, that's neat. And then just kind of like walked off. But I guess he was inspired because I was so like enthusiastic that he went out and bought me. He was gonna buy me two, but it hadn't come out yet. So
Oh,
instead, he got me one, which is a little bit less on the graphic department. But I mean, it's still a good game. But
it's kind of hard to go from two to one. You know what I mean? Because two, they just improved everything perfectly. Like everywhere it needed that little bit of improvement and everything, they nailed it on number two.
as much as like some people say that like three is like the high water mark for Tony Hawk, I'm still gonna give it to two. I feel like two was just I don't know. Everything was like even the soundtrack was perfect.
Yeah, and the unlocked videos in that game and everything were awesome. And that
Oh,
game was amazing.
I'm gonna have to go back and play it now. I still own I still own my copy, but
Nice.
but good times. But anyway, back to what we were saying. So on my birthday, I got that game from Mark, and I got these, which are
Oh
like
yeah.
wireless unit for my guitar. What?
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I want to get one of those eventually too.
It works well. It's funny because I looked him up because you said that like the reviews were great,
Yeah.
and yeah, every single review is like I'm shocked that it's this good for this price.
Yeah. Well, it's one. It's funny because back in the day, those wireless units were like I don't even know, like $300-400, and they were
Yeah,
terrible. I remember, like they would disconnect all the time, and people, they hated them.
there
Like
was
it was,
lag.
yeah, it would be like absurd to like not have a physical cable with you, you know. And now they're pretty cheap and like they're reliable. It's pretty crazy nowadays.
Yeah, and like I said, in the instructions, you can get up to I think it's like five or six of the receiving end and
Yeah.
plug them into different amps. So you can be playing through like 6 amps. So one of these days, if I ever get a bunch of money,
The
I'm
circle
buying.
of sound.
Also, for my birthday, from my wife, she asked me what I wanted, and I'm like, I don't really know. So I was like looking online for something that popped out, and they just reissued Rod McEwen's Beatsville album. It's on red vinyl,
Oh,
and
nice.
of all the years I've been collecting records, I've been after this damn album, and I'm pretty good at like digging, and like 98 times out of 100, I will find what I'm after. But this fucking album just never popped up. So it just got reissued, and like this, it got. I think it came out. I think it was in March or February, one of the two. But
It's
it's
like the
big.
DD King album.
What's
We
that?
look we looked for that DD King album for like 20 years,
Yeah,
and it just never ever turned up. I know they're out there and everything, but I just never even seen one. Just not even in the
nobody sells
shop.
like this.
There's yeah, I don't know what it is about that particular album. I have the reissue that you gave me, but I
Yeah.
always wanted the original, and I've never even seen it in person. Like I just never come across it.
The closest I came to an original was that the record store where I live was doing some online stuff, and this was like early online, and I'd been asking them about it, and I had a chance to buy like a promo copy for like $100, and I was like $100, that's crazy, but I mean, now I wouldn't think that, but yeah, it just doesn't pop up, and the same with it. This is just like it's Rod McEwen like reciting poetry over bongos, and I collect a lot of the Beat Generation stuff and Kerouac and shit. So uh, yeah, it was not cheap, but it's pretty damn awesome.
Now that you got that, the original will show up in like a year or something like
Oh,
that.
oh, for sure, for sure. Like there'll be like six of them.
Yeah.
You I guess I'll finish off, and then I'll let you kind of talk about what you got. But so the record store in my town was kind of selling off some stuff at a discount, I guess to make money or whatnot. And I bought the new Beck album, which I'm a little bit disappointed in. I don't have it with me; it's downstairs. But Beck's my guy. Like I love like his music, and his last album, Colors, was stellar. It was just like a beautiful, amazing, fun album. And his newest one, I don't know. Like he works with Pharrell, who I also like, but it feels like they're both afraid to step on each other's toes. So the album is just bland. Like it's just
Really?
like Beck's not being Beck, Pharrell's not being Pharrell. There's the album.
Maybe too many cooks in the kitchen or something like that.
Yeah, and it's funny because I feel like Beck is a force, and he's the guy who's always just doing a lot of different stuff, but he's good at it. I don't know, man. Like this album, I heard it gets better with like multiple plays, but I've heard it twice now, and I'm like, you know. But an album that did kind of knock my socks off was this one here, Sound and Fury by Sturgill Simpson, which I had heard it, and I'd heard some of his other stuff, like the country stuff, and I was like, oh, this is good. This is like good stuff. And this, it's like Pink Floyd doing like, I don't know, George Jones covers. Like it's crazy. Like there's just like this really jammed out like rockin' space rock, but then there'll be like a country singer in there too. Like it just this is a cool album. I'm really happy I picked that up, and I got like a heavy discount on it, so that makes it even better. But aside from that, I mean, that's pretty much what I've obtained. I got a
Nice.
couple coffee gadgets off of Amazon. But so what about you, Mark? What'd you get?
Uh, some of this stuff is a bit pre-quarantine, but this is the most recent thing I got. This is Alexis on Fire single. This came out last week. I just got it yesterday because Amazon is kind of slow these days
Yeah.
with stuff like this. Anyway, I haven't actually listened to it yet, but it's called "Season of the Flood." It's just a single they've been doing. They put out 3 singles recently, but no album. And I got the first one too, "Familiar Drugs." There was a second one that I didn't know about till the other day, and I just happened to see this one a couple weeks ago on a pre-order. So now I want to get the second one because I have the first one and now the third one they've done. But I don't know. I wish they would just do an album. They keep doing these kind of like singles and just pushing these 7 inches out instead of maybe just waiting and kind of combining everything. But I don't know. I'm a sucker. I'll buy it anyway.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like they know the fans will buy it. And how much did you pay for that?
They're not expensive. I think it was like $14 or $15, which is
Yeah,
expensive when you think it's like 2 fucking songs, I guess.
exactly. And like $14 times three for the 3 singles. You're paying more for less songs.
It's true, but in my mind, I'm like, it's a $14 record.
I know.
That's
I
kind of how
don't think
that's how my mind kind of sees it. But you're right.
justifies it.
Another one I got a little while ago was a repress of Town's first album. Great album. It has all my favorite songs on it. It's weird though, because with Towns, I think a couple of his albums have like the same songs on it, but they're like different recordings and stuff. But I've always kind of dug this particular one, like the recordings on this one. So I'm glad to have that on vinyl.
Is Poncho and Lefty on that one?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's not. No, it's not. Oh, I'm surprised it's not on here. But
'Cause
that's the song and Waiting Around to Die and Columbine. Most of the ones that you would know.
Like I used to be like a big fan of his, and I had like the documentary, and I had the box set that came out for Record Store Day, and then one day I just kind of had like an epiphany. Like this guy is just like depressing shit. So
Oh,
I just it all. I
it
don't
is.
know, man. Like, I just can't get into it.
I dig them because I know it's kind of somber and kind of depressing, yeah. Especially when you know the story of his life and everything too, and all that stuff. But I don't know. I enjoy his music. He's a great songwriter, great guitar player, and some of the recordings that he's done that are brilliant are just like him with an acoustic in like a bar with like 5 people. It's pretty cool. Uh,
I see it.
the other one I got, obviously I had to get this one, the new Strokes album,
Right,
The New
right.
Abnormal, which is the title's pretty apt for when it came out, with the quarantine and everything. But yeah, it's a pretty good album. I like it a lot. I'm not sure where I placed it. Kind of in their how I'd rank it in their discography, but it's climbing up there for me, and it's been received pretty well from most people anyway.
Right. And how many years was it since their last album?
Oh, I think it was like 7 years, something
Yeah.
like.
I feel like a lot of bands are doing that now, like Death from Above and like the Libertines and all these bands where it's like 8 year gaps between like albums. It's crazy.
Well, the last album was "Come Down Machine," and I'm a big Strokes guy, but I didn't really like that album at all. Like, and it was obvious that they kind of just did it because they had one album left on the contract that they kind of had to do. So it
Yeah.
kind of felt like we'll just get in the room and get this thing out and just push it out as fast as possible. It kind of felt uninspired, to be honest, to me. So it's nice that they came back and actually, they actually seem like they like each other again, and they want to make music and have a new direction. So that's pretty cool.
So better than the Voids?
I don't know. It's so different, right? Like I know it's Julian and everything, but
Yeah.
it's different. It's definitely different. This sounds more like Phrases of the Young, which is his solo album. It's more in tune with that because it has a lot
Right.
more like synths and stuff like that, but it still has a lot of rock guitar. The Voyage is a bit more out there, I think, than
Spacey.
the Strokes. And the last, I'll throw these two together. But on our Ween ranking video, I was talking about how I didn't have any version of the pod, and I had this on CD. So naturally, I had to go and fill the vinyl collection. But these
So you
ended
have
up,
all now?
I have them all on vinyl, all the studio
Right.
albums. I have most of the other stuff too. But I don't know. Both of these came like they showed up for really good prices on can't remember eBay or Amazon. But this is the pink vinyl, I think it is. What is it? I can't remember. I think it says two-tone color, but I think it's more of a pink.
Right.
And this one is what color was this one? Gray or something? Yeah, gray. Also comes with the CD, which is kind of cool.
Really? Huh.
But they were like super cheap when I found them, and they've gone up since. And before that, they were expensive. I don't know why that like little span of time they kind of came down. So I grabbed them when they were.
I've had that happen as well, where like a record, like you'll be looking on like Amazon, and it's like a 1 day thing where like a record will be like $20, and then like the next day it's up to like 30.
Yeah.
So you got to be there when it happens, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of have records that I'm watching, and I have some wish lists on Amazon, and it's on Amazon. It'll actually tell you if the price has gone down since you added it, so
Yeah.
that's kind of a nice feature. But also, I kind of like mentally know roughly how much the albums I'm looking for are, and if I see like a big drop, then I usually pull the trigger because I'm like, if I'm gonna get the album, this is probably like the best time to get it.
But speaking of albums and collecting, which I've been collecting since I was about 14, I think my time is pretty much coming to a close.
Dun dun
Because,
dun.
yeah, because I feel like Spotify, like basically I have this cord that's like two RCA ends on the one end and it's like an earphone jack on the other. So I plug my laptop into my stereo system, which is like pretty decent setup, and it's like almost as good as like vinyl. Plus, it's just all there for like $10 a month. So
I can't
you
believe
know,
it took this long to get you to do it. I'm shocked.
I
I've
want to
been
talk about
preaching to you. I've been preaching.
because about 4 years ago or whenever Spotify came out, I said this exact same thing, and I had somebody who also collects that I know say like this is nuts. You're a record collector, you know, and I was eventually swayed to kind of keep going, but the amount of money that like vinyl is these days, like I just feel like I can't really like, justify buying a lot of albums these days. And I'm the kind of guy who likes to like dabble. I like to experiment. I like to if something has a good cover, I like to like I'll pick that up. Well,
Yeah.
now the price of vinyl, I can't, and I feel like essentially like that experimental the exploration of music has kind of been stilted because of like money, and so I feel like with Spotify, like there's just so many playlists and so many like albums on there that it's almost kind of like crazy that like the world isn't like on Spotify.
The world is on Spotify, man.
Well, I guess so. I guess I'm the last guy to the party. But
Hey, Wayne
other
Gretzky's pretty good, eh?
I'm the guy who shows up like 10 minutes of the party before the cops come. It's just like woo, and the cops show up.
You know
But
what though? For me, you can have the best of both worlds. Because I was, to be honest, with Spotify, I was kind of like whatever. I didn't want to spend the $10 or whatever. But I kind of was converted a while ago, just for the sheer choice and pretty much everything you want is on there, like you're saying, and it's awesome to have that. But also, I do like collecting still, and there is like that ritual aspect of like pulling the record out of the sleeve and putting it on the table, and I love that aspect of it as well. So I do both, but I don't really take too many chances on vinyl anymore, at least unless it's really cheap or like $5-10 record. You can take a chance maybe, but I'm not taking chances on like $30-40 records at this point. I'll just go on Spotify, and if I really love the record on Spotify, then I'll buy it.
well, see, for me, because I do have like a fairly big collection. Like as of late, ever since I've made this decision, I'm kind of going through and like a lot of the punk records that I've had since I was like a teenager, I'm gonna hang on to. Like I still want my Misfits and my Ramones, and I still want my like Black Sabbath on vinyl. But I'm kind of going through stuff, just being like, if I have a record that I don't really play too much, or if it's something that I like a song or two, I'm just gonna ace it. I'm gonna sell it and just kind of thin down because I mean it is hard to kind of keep everything because eventually you have like a house full of vinyl for like one song for each album.
Well, that's why you got to kind of trim it down. Like I'm always kind of trimming down and then trying to sell off stuff that I don't really listen to anymore or care about. I try to have just albums that I really love on vinyl, and the rest I can just listen to on Spotify or
and
YouTube.
and and as for like the collecting thing, I've always collected like well punk rock, but mainly like Canadian punk stuff. And like I'll still be after that. If I see something I don't have, I'm still gonna pick it up.
Yeah,
But I feel like for a lot of stuff nowadays, like why not just stream it?
yeah.
And it's funny because I told this to a friend of mine, uh, Carl, who I don't know if you watched this, but hi Carl. But
Well, of course.
I told him he also collects vinyl, but he's more of like a high end guy. And he was like streaming is the way that the man controls you. And I was
Classic
like,
car.
well, I was like, so be it. But yeah, and it's the same thing with Netflix and stuff. Where like years ago I had like a huge DVD collection, and now I have maybe like 100. Like I have
Yeah.
some stuff I think is cool, but
I jumped off the DVD Blu-ray bandwagon pretty early on. Like I haven't really bought DVDs or Blu-ray in probably like 7 to 10 years. I don't even know when the last time I bought them, but I never
uh,
really wanted that collection because I already have, a bunch of video games, already got records. I can't, I don't have the room to collect DVDs as well.
you can't open that box.
Yeah. And same with the Funko Pops too. Like I see some of those Funko Pops, I'm like, yeah, they look kind of cool and they're cheap, but I just can't do it because you get so deep into that you'd have, a whole
I was gonna
closet
grab
full
a
of.
couple of Funko Pops I have on the shelf here, but I won't do it.
So yeah,
But
to be honest, even with my game collection, I definitely toyed with the idea of selling a lot of it off. And I might, coming out of this quarantine, I might start putting stuff for sale because I just don't really play it to be honest anymore, not that much. And if I wanted to, there's the NES Classic and the SNES Classic and Retro Pies and everything like emulators and all kinds of stuff where you can play those games that you want to play. Like, do I really need my Super Nintendo hooked up and like all the cartridges sitting there and everything? Do I really need all that?
but at the same time, it's really hard to move stuff that you've had since you were like a kid or a teen,
Yeah,
because
that's the
that's
hard
kind of
part.
the thing I have with like the records. Like I started collecting records like years and years before it became hip, and it's because I was broke. And you go to a yard
Yeah,
sale or like a secondhand store, and I couldn't afford like Black Sabbath on CD, but there was the album for a quarter. And
yeah,
eventually, I amassed this like fairly big collection, and then people are like, "Oh shit, you must have spent like $1 million on this." Well, no, but it's also hard to thin out because like you become attached to it. You
it's
know.
true. Like I have like especially my NES collection, I would have a really hard time getting rid of. like my PlayStation 1 and stuff like that, or N64, it wouldn't be that bad because most of the stuff I've bought, I've rebought. But
Right.
my NES stuff is literally like the cartridges I had as a kid. Like all those cartridges are literally the ones that I played back in the day. So
Huh.
it is kind of hard to get rid of that. Like you've had this for like 20 some odd years. Like how can you just get rid of it now?
Yeah, but at the same time, like, and that's one of the things I've learned over this whole quarantine is that I started like we've been kind of like cleaning up the house and whatnot, and I'm like, there's just like pockets of things like games you don't play or like books you're not gonna read again, but you put them on the shelf anyway.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of nice to like go through like there are games I'm not gonna sell, like my Punch Out from when I was a kid. I can't sell it. My Nintendo still have it. I'm not gonna sell it.
Your brother didn't mind selling it.
So if we want to go there, so some of those cartridges that Mark has been playing since he was a kid were the ones that I was playing when I was a kid, and my brother ended up selling to Mark unbeknownst to me or Mark's
Yeah.
mom.
I
Uh,
can't remember if he sold to my mom or not, but I remember I gave you back the Punch Out, and
yeah, well, you had to give me back a couple because they weren't mine originally. Like I had borrowed them from a friend, and then Charles stole them. And then so I was like, I think I had to get Mock Rider back from you as well.
Oh, really? I don't remember.
Yeah, because I was like these belong to a guy I went to school with, and I still have them because he never came to get them back. But you know, yeah, but I don't know, man. Like there's just certain things that have a nostalgic value that are hard. But I mean, it's kind of freeing in a way to kind of like move stuff along.
Well, that's why it's hard because on one aspect you're thinking, yeah, these I've had these since I was a kid, and they look good on a shelf. They look kind of cool having the collection there. On the other side of the coin, it's like, okay, but this is just taking up space. I don't really play them. At the end of the day, they're just objects. They're just games. They're just pieces
Yeah,
of plastic. Why are you tying yourself up, emotionally or whatever to an inanimate fucking object, basically?
well, it's true.
So it's like, why are
And,
you
and
putting that much stuff? And the value of these things are probably at an all-time high right now. Like if I'm gonna cash out on these games from a financial perspective,
that's
now
right.
would be the time, right?
Do it
Not
up.
that it's about that at all, but I'm just, that's another good reason to get rid of it.
Right. So now that we talked about that, is there anything you've been working on over this time of, a lot of time spent indoors?
Well, for me, it hasn't really changed because I'm
Right.
still working the same shifts and whatever. I'd like to think that if I did have the time off, I would have recorded an album or wrote a book or something like that. But realistically, I probably wouldn't have.
Well,
Uh,
I can tell you, like, I do have a young son, but at the same, I've written like two songs, like just you would think I would have like a double album recorded by now, but it's just
well,
I
that's
don't
what you
know, man.
think, right? Like when you think of having a month off of work, and you're like, man, I could do so much with that time, like because you always say, oh, well, I never recorded those songs or I never did that because I didn't have the time. And then when the time comes,
You're sitting on the couch watching Netflix,
I've been
or
playing Animal Crossing actually a lot since it came out. So
yeah.
that's a pretty fun game. It's weird. I was never really into it, but it just the timing was kind of right for that game, and the boredom level was there to buy it. So I bought the digital copy of it, and I've been playing that. And now I got to a point where I just kind of check in every day and play for maybe 20 minutes, kind of do the things around my island, and then that's about it. But that game goes pretty deep if you want to. It's a huge time killer. Like it came out at the perfect time for a quarantine.
It's funny because like the me from back in the day wants to mock you right now for playing Animal Crossing, you know? But I had a similar thing with like Pokemon Sapphire, where I had bought a Game Boy Advance and it came with Pokemon Sapphire. And of course, I'm playing like other games, and that game was just like sitting on a desk or something. And finally, I played it, and then it was like I would play that game from like 10 at night to like 3 in the morning. I was obsessed with like Pokemon Sapphire, and I was like, this is a kid's game. Well, I don't know, man. Some of the games are pretty good.
Yeah, my wife has kind of been on me, telling me it's a kid's game and all that stuff. But if you guys actually played it, you'd probably be in the same boat. It's just one of those things that it is cutesy and it is for everyone type of game or E for everyone game where kids are playing it. But there's so much for adults as well. Like it's a fun time for everybody.
Right.
Just because some guy's not getting his head blown off doesn't mean it's not for you.
Well, we've had this talk before about games, whereas like I feel like, and yes, I just did mention Doom and I like it, but a lot of the games I play now are on like my 3DS,
Yeah.
and I just find like those games because I did grow up in the '80s, they're just a bit more fun and friendly and happy.
Well, it's funny
They're
because
happy
like
games.
even like Mario Brothers on the NES, that's considered a kid's game back in the day, and everyone loves that game. It's the same deal, right? It's the same thing as that. Even today,
Mario,
like Mario Odyssey, that's a kid's game. Awesome game. Great game.
right?
I think most adults who play it would love it as well.
I'm trying to think what game I'm playing now. I haven't played in a few days. It is uh, a Super Mario 3D Land.
Yeah, it's a great game.
So yeah, killer game. But I don't know. Like I do like Doom, and I do like some of those games where it's like war or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like there's just days when I just want to like have fun and chill out and have a beer and like play Mario.
Well, Nintendo is great for that, where it's like it has these games that are just at its core, it's just a fun, simple kind of game. But they do it
Right.
so well, and the characters like Mario and Link and all those, they're just timeless characters that kind of bring you back as well from the early NES days. So those games, I don't know, they always kind of shine through a lot of the other stuff that's out there. Like how many times can you play a World War II shooting game? We've played it a million fucking times.
Well, it is funny because like I remember when those games first started coming out, like years ago, and I was like, ah, it's cool, and like the historical stuff was kind of neat. But I'm shocked it's still a genre because I mean, for me, I find it like move on. Like there's other shit to do. Whereas like the Uncharted games, I find are like awesome because it's
Yeah,
like a movie, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like the war games for me have basically worn out their welcome.
It's funny though, because I remember playing. I think it was Medal of Honor, the first one, where you storm the beach on D-Day and like the
Yeah,
bullets
yeah.
past you. I think it was a PS2 game, but I remember playing that for the first time and thinking, this is incredible. Like this is like something completely new. Like we had never really experienced something like that, and to bring you on this like particular battle that everyone knows about, and it's a a battle that is so well known in history and to put you there on that beach getting shot at and everything it was like surreal at that time.
And that's a hectic level too, man. I was like thinking about that when I actually said that. Like that level's nuts because as soon as you hit the beach, it's just like a fucking wave of bullets. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I
it's
remember
rough.
like too, like you're in the boat and you're like looking around and there's like a dude puking at the back of the boat because he can't handle like what's happening. It's like, oh man, it was just every like little detail about that level was so engaging and it was awesome, man.
But like now, it's been done to death. Like that what system was that on PS2?
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Like fuck sakes, we're almost at PS5 time now. You know.
Yeah. And now it's like I just feel like a lot of the shooters are just kind of the same thing. Like, you the same style of game. You go through here and then you have your shootout with everybody, and then you go through here and there's a cutscene, and then you come back and then there's another shootout here, and it's just kind of I don't know. It's just me. I'm sure a lot of people enjoy that and everything, but for me, I'm just kind of sick of doing that. I don't know. I always get kind of bored with that kind of stuff now.
You know, it's funny. Like, if any of our videos get like a whole bunch of comments, it's this one telling us we're fucking idiots for not enjoying the war game.
Well, I feel like it's like the old man yelling at the cloud picture, Grandpa Simpson, where it's just, not back in my day, Medal of Honor was awesome, but I don't know. I don't know if it is getting older or maybe our attention spans are just shot now because of the internet and everything, but it's just different. Like I have a hard time recently, like the last couple of years of like really getting into a game. Like it takes a very special game for me to like get myself fully into. Like the last one I can remember was probably Red Dead 2 or maybe Resident Evil 2. I can't remember which one came out earlier, but like those are the last two games I remember like beating and like being fully engrossed. Now I'll start a game and then it's a great game. I've heard great things and everyone says it's great. But like I just get kind of bored after like half an hour, and I just don't go back to it.
Yeah, like Red Dead 2 was that game where like you were part of that world.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like before dawn or whatever,
Oh, Until Dawn.
until dawn, like that was a game that I was like fully into. Like I was in that world. But you're right. Like you'll be playing a game now, and it's just like I don't know. Like there's always I'm looking at my phone, or I'm thinking about other shit, and I don't know. It just doesn't pull you in the same.
I think this is why I play basically all my game time is NHL these days because I go in, I play a 15-minute game of NHL, and then I can choose to play another game or do something else. So it's not really taking that much time, and it's not taking that much like effort, I guess. I just
Mental
kind of go and play the game. So that's like most of my game time these days is just playing NHL.
right? Like I was big on the MLB the Show, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's this exact same thing where you go in, you play a game, and then you get out. It's pretty funny because like with the lack of sports now, I find that people are getting more into like the games. Like,
Yeah.
are you watching the Boba Fett games?
No.
No. So like he's on Twitch, and like Boba Fett plays for the Toronto Blue Jays for people who don't know. But yeah, so he's playing like a season online, and people
Nice.
tune in. And, yeah, they watch him play. So
Nice.
it's kind of cool. Like you can't really see your team. Go Jays, but go Raps. But yeah, it's just cool.
I was looking forward to this baseball season coming up. Like, I thought, because last year was, we traded everybody basically, but we had Vlad Jr. and a lot of the young guys were like picking up the slack, especially towards the end. So I was like, man, okay, this year, like maybe we won't make the playoffs or anything, but you could tell that this year was probably going to be a step up from last year, and the young guys were really gonna. I was hoping they're gonna pull it together.
But that's kind of the thing. Like I was at the second game of last season, and they were still kind of like getting rid of some of the old dudes who were there, like
Yeah.
Strong was still there and stuff. And then yeah, by the end of last season, like Bichette was up, and like they had Vladdy and Biggio, and a lot of those guys were really starting to step up and be great. Like man, Bo Bichette. I mean, I know that a lot of people say that Vladdy Jr. is the guy, but Bichette's like right behind him. But it's
But it's
so
cool
funny
that
because
we have that.
like this whole quarantine screwed everything because like the Raptors were at least going to be a presence
Oh,
in the play. It was our time to win two in a row, man.
I know.
I was jacked,
I
and
was I was 100% convinced that it was going to be Raptors and Clippers in the final, and it would be against Kawhi, and we were going to like win
murder
again
'em.
and beat Kawhi and burn them. But
It's so funny though how like me and you were at that game in February, and then in March like the season's done.
yeah,
Like they just called it, and it's just like
and they went on that fucking run too. I can't remember how many games they won in a row. It was like
it was
14.
18, wasn't it, or
I don't know.
18 or 19 straight?
Like actually, towards the end, before they closed it down, they were kind of hit or miss, but. That team was still so solid, and you knew like once they got to the playoffs, they were gonna be hard to beat.
They were gonna step up.
Yeah, so oh man, it hurts so much that we got robbed of that.
And then again, it's funny because like I said, like I had a feeling that like the Raps were gonna go far in the playoffs, if not all the way, and then that was gonna lead into like the Blue Jays just like tearing shit up.
Yeah.
Like everything was set to be awesome.
And we all know
And
the Leafs were gonna win the cup this year if the season did.
if that's the case, I'll jump in the fucking lake. No, it's funny though because we've had this talk before, but like the one team that's like our hometown team, which like Toronto, I hate the Leafs. Like I just can't get behind the Leafs, you know? Like, I don't know. They're just a bunch of boneheads. I can't do it.
You really want to get that dislike button pressed, eh?
Oh, but to be honest, I just feel like the Leafs always shoot themselves in the foot, and they're just so judgmental about people like Kessel. They're like, oh, like Kessel's garbage. He wasn't garbage. Like he wasn't physical. Well, Matthews isn't physical. You
Yeah.
know, like Matthews a cream puff. Can he score goals? Yes, but it was so could Kessel.
It's
You
kind
know,
of funny though with the Leafs because like we grew up loving the Raptors and the Blue Jays obviously and everything and all our local kind of teams, but and actually you know what, at one point I was a big Leafs fan in the early '90s with Pop Finn and Clark and those kind of guys, but I felt like as that team transitioned into the Darcy Tucker and Roberts and Domi and Cabriolet and Belak that late '90s Leafs. I don't know. I just turned on that team pretty hard at that in that era. I just
you know,
didn't like a lot of those guys, man. Especially Tucker and especially Domi. I just didn't like those guys at all.
I feel like because again, like I can talk about the Leafs a lot, and it's because like I think I was always kind of like pulling for them, but I think now I've just been like broken, you know, like you see them almost do something just to fall apart over and over and over again,
Yeah.
and it's and it hurts. It hurts to see like would I like to see the Leafs win the cup? That'd be great. Would I like to hear the fans after they win the cup? Hell no, because they would just like never let it go. You
It's
know?
funny because like I'm a diehard Devils fan for like probably almost 20 years now, and I'll always be a Devils fan at this point. But there's always part of me that kind of wants the Leafs to win, but at the same time, I find it hilarious when they keep shooting themselves in the foot. Like it's like a car wreck that you can't turn away from. But part of me still kind of wants them to win, but I also find it hilarious, and I can laugh at like the stupid moves they make, and no matter how good the Leafs tend to be, they always fuck it up somehow, and it's just it's just funny to watch.
It's almost like a comedy now, where it's like they'll get themselves in a good position, and you're like, okay, how are they going to blow this now? Because you know it's going to happen. Like they're going to be up like 5 goals, and it's the third period, and they're going to lose the game. Like they're going to lose.
Yeah.
You know,
And
but
and it's crazy though because people will still like sell out that arena. Like people are diehard for the Leafs, and I get that. But there's just no accountability on the team. It's like these guys can do whatever they want, and when they fuck up or they lose big, it doesn't seem like there's any accountability for it. It's like, oh, we'll get them next year or next year. You know how many times I've heard next year is the year in Toronto for the Leafs? It's like every single time. Every time they lose in the playoffs in the first round, every time they don't make the playoffs, well, next year's our year. It's just like,
it's even every time that they make it like a trade. It's like, oh, here's our guy. This is our spark plug. It's like
yeah,
he's because I remember when they got what is it, Babcock or
yeah.
yeah, and it's just like I remember going to work and the manager was like we just got the cup. We just hired the cup, and then like you know, and it's just like oh man, like it's not gonna happen.
It's funny because you, as a diehard Wings fan, you already kind of knew about Babcock, and you
He
weren't even a big fan of him towards the end of that run there.
no.
You're already against him kind of before he even came to Toronto.
Like when he first came into the league, I thought I liked his fire. It was the kind of like a Tortorella kind of guy, where like you'd see him in like the locker room, getting people fired up. But yeah, towards the end of it, and even on the wings, you start to hear like the rumblings of like players hate him,
Yeah,
etc., etc. And it's like, and again, I feel like teams that win are teams that not just the players, but like the coaching staff, they're all in it together. Like the wings from the late '90s, where they had Scotty Bowman. Like he was as much a part of the Wings team as like Steve Yzerman. Like you really need that kind of cohesion. And again, I just feel like the Leafs, they just never seem to have that. Like it just seems to be like I don't know who was like maybe Pat Quinn was like the last coach that you felt was kind of a Leaf, you know. But even then, like the teammates weren't really there.
It's kind of funny with Babcock too because it feels like he never really takes responsibility for the failures, but he'll take the credit for stuff that wasn't really him. Like when he came in early in the league, he was with the Ducks, and I remember he was the coach in '03 when the Ducks made that run to the final and the Devils beat them, of course. And but that was mostly that was mostly on the back of Jaguar. Like the man won the Conn Smythe on the losing team. Like that year, Jaguar was like almost unbeatable. Like it was scary how good he was. So how much of that was really Babcock's coaching? It wasn't really a team winning. It was Jaguar standing on his fucking head. And then the same thing in Detroit when they won the cup with Babcock. It was like I probably could have coached that team because they just had such a great team in that era. But
Right,
maybe a
guys,
bit more credit to him. But it seems like the foundation for him on his successes, it was already laid for him when he came in. Even the Leafs, like, they already had Matthews, I think, and Marner they were in the system at least about to come up. And then he also got John Tavares and he had Nylander. He had all these big names and he fucked it up basically. Even with all those high end talent, he couldn't even get out of the first round with that team. And he was making stupid choices. And last year, they're like in that game 7, they're down a goal or two, whatever it was, and you have Matthews, who's arguably one of the best goal scorers in the league, and he's not even on the ice at the end. Like, why aren't you playing these guys? Like, double shift these guys, play them all together, put Matthews and Marner together. He's got the fourth line plugs out there when you're down in the game 7. Like,
and then see, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like it's just like you see these like bonehead moves, and it's just like I can't watch anymore. Like it hurts, you know.
honestly,
But
his biggest crime to me was Medano. He was on when he was on the Wings. He played 1,499 games, and Mike Babcock scratched him in the last game of the season. When he was going to retire, he would have had exactly 1,500 games, and Mike Babcock scratched him for what reason?
well,
To not give him his 1,500 games.
and it's just funny because like Modano is a guy you hear like nothing but good things about. Like people are like, he's a team player, like really stand up guy. But again, from what I understand, because I actually there's a thing on YouTube about this, and apparently it was like a power play where basically he wanted to show the other players like I'm in charge. But I mean, like
That's not the crime.
you can show that without screwing over this guy he did nothing but try to play like a great game and did well, you know?
Out of respect for a legend like Mike Modano, he's a legend. Give him the 1,500 game. Like, I don't care what power move you want to do. You can do that next game or whatever. Come on, man. Like, to me, that's so wrong. Like, that's so disrespectful to a guy who dedicated his whole life to hockey and gave so much, especially in Dallas. Like, he was an all-star there for that team and carried that team through tough times. And it's just so disrespectful for me just to not give him that 1,500 game.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those things, and it's funny because I don't feel like he'll be remembered well, you know?
I
Like
know.
as a coach, he's not going to come back for like the alumni games because he's just going to get like booed out of the arena.
Well, hopefully they get the sports started again. I've heard rumors that, baseball wants to start up in I think it was May or something, right? They kind of
That's
want
what
to
hurts
start.
me, yeah.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, I'm getting bored over here.
I've heard the NHL toying with like basically playing empty arena in like one or two locations and having all the teams in like one location and trying to finish the season and do the Stanley Cup and everything. But I don't know. Whatever they can do, I'll take it because at this point, like, we need something like that. It'd be great to have something to look forward to like that.
Well, apparently baseball actually they pitched that idea, pardon the pun. But they were supposed to play in like I think it was like two venues, and just kind of get like the Grapefruit League guys going.
Yeah,
But
but baseball is like the perfect social distancing game. Everyone is so spread out anyway on the field.
though it would be funny to run the bases because you could tag the guy 6 feet. So there's just like huge scores, but yeah, like I have a feeling that they're basically probably on the verge of figuring something out. And now we just have to be patient, you know?
For sure.
Uh, and anything else you want to touch on?
No, not that I can think of. Anything for you?
No, really, it's been fun.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of dragged on a little bit, but it was fun talking. It's nice to talk about different stuff. Our conversations always weave in and out of so many different topics and different things. It's kind of fun, and I never really know how we got to where we got, but
No, it's funny because we went from like Nintendo games to like baseball and hockey, which I
the
guess kind of
Babcock.
yeah, me bagging on Babcock, but yeah, whatever, man. You know, it's just something. Hopefully, you enjoyed watching. If you agree or don't agree, leave a message in the comments. Tell us to go fuck ourselves if you want to. Well, somebody in one of our other videos said that we were crazy, so you know.
Well, they're not wrong there.
Yeah, well, but yeah, man. Hopefully, everybody out there is safe. Hopefully, me and Mark can do more videos soon. Like this is the first one we've done in over a month and a half.
Yeah, it's been a
And
while. Hopefully, we can kind of get back to doing more stuff. We were going pretty good there with releasing stuff fairly often, but I don't know this quarantine. I guess I don't know. I don't really want to use it as an excuse, but it kind of threw us off a little bit, I think. And we actually did a couple of videos that we had technical issues with that
true.
we weren't able to publish, which kind of put a damper on stuff. But
I think that kind of like really got in the way too because I think we did two that we did and we had a bit of issue with and like there's actually some stuff like some other like whenever we do a podcast though not this one usually I like the night before I sit down and I type up like points I want to hit and whatnot and there's still a few in a folder I have so we have ideas we're just basically waiting for when me and Mark can sit down and spare a few moments
yeah, we
but
had some ideas to continue our review series, but we kind of do that in person. It's better to do it in person. We kind of play off each other, but we haven't been able to see each other in person because of this stuff. So hopefully we can get back to doing that kind of stuff because that was fun.
right. And yeah, you know, so hopefully we get back on track. Hopefully we can release more content, and hopefully you enjoy seeing it, because basically we're just a couple of losers just yakking about shit. So if you're a loser too, you know,
That's
come on,
podcasting.
straight from the fridge.
All right,
I'm
take care, everybody. See you next time.
that got awkward.
Bad outro. Bad outro.
I'm Chris Terrific.
Marky D2, thanks for watching. Stay safe in the quarantine. Hopefully, we'll all get out of this pretty soon. So take care.
See you next time.